All right, welcome back to Double Fries No Slaw. Florida State picks up a massive defensive line commitment from Ernest Rankins today. Just 2 days before July 4th, the Noles get some fireworks. Let's talk about him, his fit, impact on recruiting, and then how Florida State continues to stuff Auburn in a locker on the trail. Florida State picks up Ernest Rankins out of Decatur, Georgia. He's a 6'6", between 270 and 285 pounds based on the website you look at. Offers a massive frame with long arms and room to add plenty of muscle, ideal for an interior defensive tackle or in the 3 technique role. A number 117 overall on the 247 Sports Composite. He's the number 14 defensive lineman. On3 has him as the number 113 overall player, number 10 defensive lineman. He's a top 5 on the On3 rankings alone. High school performance in his 2024 junior season, he had 58 tackles, 12 for a loss. He had 6 sacks, 15 quarterback hurries in just 10 games, helping his team to a 7-3 record in Georgia's 5A classification. His film showcases a quick first step, powerful hands, and the ability to dominate offensive linemen, often requiring double teams. He often causes havoc in the backfield, as evidenced by his 6 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, and 15 quarterback hurries, getting multiple a game very often. He was previously listed at 300 pounds. He dropped some weight to improve conditioning and quickness, which enhanced that explosiveness. He's got really good work ethic, which he attributes to his father, Ernest Sr. He is a very disruptive force with a high motor, rarely taking plays off. He had offers from everyone, every SEC school you can imagine, some major Big Ten schools in there as well. This list narrowed to FSU, Auburn, and Georgia before his decision. He was absolutely a take for all 3. This is a huge win for Florida State and Mike Norvell. We've certainly shared our concerns around certain position groups recruiting. We don't need to dive into the negatives here, but despite all of that, a big shout out to Terrence Knighton for getting this done. This is a huge win for Florida State along the defensive line. Pairs well with a really nice win that they had last year on the defensive line in the interior by keeping Kevin Wynn. Florida State can continue to recruit well in the trenches. That will set them up for success. I don't want to take away from anything that any other coaches have done on the recruiting trail, but Florida State's always going to land skill guys. Let's just be very honest. Through some of Mike Norvell's worst recruiting seasons, through Willie Taggart's recruiting seasons that were not great, they always landed skill guys. That is just something that's going to happen in this state and at this university. But recruiting at the trench level is something that I think takes more effort, more work, and is a lot harder because there are less difference makers at those positions. This is a big win for all of the, I don't want to call it slander, but all of the worries or concerns that we've had about defensive line recruiting. This is a huge win to get them back to a point where they can be competitive there. Now, we say it every video, you got to hold on to them and you got to keep them at, yes, all of that is absolutely true. But today, you'd much rather have him committed than not committed, and Florida State got that done. A win over Auburn, which, again, Florida State has terrorized Auburn on the recruiting trail over the last few weeks. You get the flip of Devin Carter. You get the 4-star tight end that was heavily sought after by both Auburn and Alabama. Shoot, I saw Auburn had a 4-star wide receiver flip to Kentucky. It's been a rough go for Hugh Freeze, and Florida State goes here, where Auburn one time thought to lead and gets the win. That's huge for the Noles. To continue to, let's call it what it is, pick on a staff that is down is big for FSU to capitalize on. But let's not forget where Florida State's coming from. Coming off of a 2-win season, it's not like they have fireworks to sell either. This is a new system, a new staff, a new direction for Florida State football. And right now they're selling it better than I think any of us really expected. If you got to be honest with yourself, Florida State's sitting either right inside or right outside the top 10 based on which service you're looking at. You got to be pretty impressed with the results that Florida State is putting forth when it comes to recruiting. And the complaints we've had are suddenly starting to seem to get fixed. They seem to be trending for a 4-star linebacker. They're in it for some offensive linemen. I know that's still kind of a concern too. But defensive line now jumping into the ranks of this is a pretty good class for Florida State when you have an anchor like Rankins on it. Now, his size, his quickness, and his disruptive ability align perfectly with what Florida State will try to do in a 3-3-5 defense under defensive coordinator Tony White. And, of course, defensive line coach Terrence Knighton by extension as well. His length and explosiveness make him ideal for a three-technique defensive tackle role where he can penetrate gaps and disrupt both run and pass plays. I mentioned this already twice, but his 6 sacks and 12 tackles for a loss as a junior highlight his pass rushing potential. Rankins projects as an interior defensive lineman who can anchor against the run and pressure quarterbacks as well. His ability to draw double teams will free up linebackers and edge rushers, complementing FSU's aggressive, and we hope it is very aggressive, defensive front that they will now employ. He joins 4-star defensive lineman Tico Crittenden, James Carrington, and 3-star Whitley Cadu in the 2026 class, forming a starting to be formidable group along the front of that edge. Now, his commitment to Florida State is the 18th in this 2026 class, which again, ranked somewhere between 8th and 11th nationally based on the composite, based on the industry, with, this is ticking up as well, a 62.5% blue chip ratio per the 24/7 Sports composite. His pledge following a June surge of 12 commitments, which included blue chip flips like Devin Carter and Jay Timmons, underscores FSU's recruiting momentum. He's the 4th defensive lineman in the Tribe 26 class, which addresses a critical need for trench dominance. Florida State offered him in January of 2024, relatively late compared to Georgia and Auburn, but his official visit this June 6th through 8th, was pivotal. He described it as eye-opening. He praised FSU's high-energy team environment and coaching staff. Relationships with Knighton and Norvell combined with FSU's defensive vision gave the Seminoles the edge here. And like I said, we have belabored a lot. We've been negative a lot on the channel. And coming off of 2-10, you guys have felt that. You've joined in a lot of it too. But what they've done on the trail, really this last month and a half, has been incredibly impressive. Does any of that matter if you go out and lose 8 games? No, it doesn't. Does any of that matter if 7 of your guys decommit and flip? No, it doesn't. But you take the wins where you can get them. And right now, Florida State is recruiting, I think, better than any of us expected coming off of last season. And if they're not able to hold on, if they're not able to close, we will have those discussions later. Trust me, we will. We've had them year after year. We'll do it again. But for right now, you take the wins where you can get them. And this is a massive, massive win for Mike Norvell, this staff, this defensive line group, and really Florida State in general. Would we like to see more? Absolutely. It is very much what have you done for me lately, right? Off of this commit, who's next to commit? We'll certainly find out here in the next couple of days as I think Florida State continues that strong momentum in recruiting and continues to build what I think could be Mike Norvell's best class at Florida State. It might be a stretch because obviously coming off of 2023, they still had a pretty good class there. But this class certainly has the potential to crack into that top 10. They're in it for some more highly ranked guys. They're probably going to land a 5-star. We can talk about that some over in the Discord. But I think they're doing a really good job, all things considered. Is it the elite top 2-3 class that we think Florida State should have? No, it's not. But is it better than any of us expected at this point in the year? It has to be. If you disagree with that, I don't know. Let me know in the comments how you expected a top 5 class coming off of 2-10. I'd love to hear it. It has been really good, and I think the staff deserves a lot of praise for that. Got to hold on. Got to get them to sign. I understand all that, but right now it does feel good, like recruiting is trending in a very positive direction for Florida State. Would love to know your thoughts. Would love to get your excitement down in the comments. We do have a free trial right now running on Patreon that you are more than welcome to go sign up for. The link is down there on the bottom. We appreciate you guys, as always, tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Go Noles.